Welcome to Rising Tides Live. I'm your host, Shawn Walchef. Today is Pitch the Tide. Happy Halloween, wherever you're joining. We do this live show twice a week, Wednesdays, Fridays, wherever you are in the world, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. London time. We are a community of storytellers, a community of restaurant owners, a community of hospitality professionals and technology professionals. And we love what we do. We love building community. Today's show is specifically called Pitch the Tide. So this is a restaurant technology showcase show. We just started doing these about a month ago. They've been going very well. We have a growing waiting list. So if you are a restaurant technology company, hospitality technology company, you provide services to the hospitality or restaurant community, and you want to pitch the tide and actually get some feedback from our community, please email us, podcast@calibbq.media, and we will get you on the list to pitch the tide. Today, we are going to be talking to Luis Martinez-Moure. More importantly, he's going to be talking to us to share what is Pathway building and why. So let's bring up Luis, and the floor is yours, my friend. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. Happy Halloween, and thanks for taking the time to share what you guys are building.
Happy spooky season. Thanks for having me, Shawn. Excited to be on. All right, folks. Well, excited to be here and excited to put this in front of the world and get some feedback from some awesome people in our community. As Shawn said, I'm Luis. I'm the CEO of Pathway. And what we're doing is we're building Patty. Patty is the right-hand woman for every restaurant owner. And specifically what it does is it knows absolutely everything about your business. You can talk to it. It can talk to you. It can go do things on your behalf. And we're going to get into it and why we're so excited about it. But to give you a little bit of context about why we decided to do this and why we decided to start this company, my co-founder Adarsh and I are, longtime restaurant tech people. I was at DoorDash for many years as a general manager. I worked with hundreds of restaurants directly myself and thousands of restaurants through my teams. I know what it's like to try to adopt new technology in an industry that is historically, had a hard time with that. And what we saw, both from my side and then from Adarsh's side, with his background being in applied AI at Uber Eats and being one of the leads on that side of the house, is that AI provides an opportunity for restaurant operations to be revolutionized really for the first time since the 50s. Since McDonald's came along and brought on the QSR revolution. And the reason for that is we have seen, how futile it is to build tools that are just surface level insights for your business, don't know your business well, and then even if they can give you something valuable, can't help you go and execute on it to actually make your business better. That's the promise of AI, and that's what we're going after with Patty. In particular, I'd love to walk you through our website first. So if you go to our website, workwithpathway.com, you'll land on this page. And really, here at the top, we have our main value proposition, which is talk to your restaurant by talking to Patty. And in particular, she knows everything. She knows your menu, your costs, your operations, your profitability. And what that allows her to do is go deep. So let's say you want to understand your profitability down to the dish, down to the shift, the day part, an hour, a location. She knows all of this because she brings together all of your systems across the board, from sales to cost to inventory, your supplier pricing, payroll, accounting, you name it. That also allows her to spot every opportunity and actually go and act on it. So let's look at some examples here, right? Hey, your breakfast margins at the downtown locations are down due to waste. Here's how we need to adjust prep in order to reduce that waste, right? It's not just like, hey, I've noticed this thing, but rather here's what we're going to go do about it together. Then it can also go deep. It's like, hey, are you overpaying your suppliers, right? We've seen that beef prices shot up, but over the past 3 weeks, they've actually come down. If you have a cost plus contract with your vendor, is that something that they're passing through to you just yet? And if not, how can we stay on them? I'll make sure to reach out and make it so that your supplier knows that you are keeping an eye on the commodity prices and expect things to come down. And then finally, what we just talked about is opportunities. Then there's also problems, right? It's like, hey, this invoice came in and there was something wrong on it. I don't have the time to go be emailing back and forth with the, customer service rep at the supplier. Patty will do that for you. We'll make sure you're getting paid. We'll make sure that you're whole. All in all, would encourage you to go through the website. We've got some other cool stuff in here that walks through kind of what it is that we do. But what I'd love to do now is actually get into a quick demo of what our product is like. And in particular, what I did was I created a fake restaurant called Luis's Ecuadorian Kitchen in LA. I'm from Ecuador, guys. That's why I chose that. And this is what talking to Patty looks like. And so what I asked Patty to do is like, hey, go figure out what my pricing looks like compared to other folks in the area, and do so thematically, because there's not a lot of Ecuadorian restaurants in LA, right? So think about what's my actual competition. What are the dishes that I need to be looking at? And specifically, carne asada is a dish in Ecuador. It's a little different from carne asada elsewhere, but that might be something that my customers are comparing me to competitors on. So go take a look at that. And it gave me a full breakdown of all the competitors in the area, what their pricing looks like, et cetera. And just looking at that, hey, what is the universe of pricing levels that you could have in terms of what would be competitive on the market? But that doesn't actually take into consideration my costs, right? Cool. I know that I need to be somewhere in the $17 range, but can I actually make that work? So what I asked it to do is, hey, go take a look at my carne asada recipe and figure out if this is doable. And what she found is that I could potentially make a $17 price point is not particularly realistic, but $20 is. And the way to do that is to actually go take a look at my beef serving. Right now, my recipe is way too large in terms of the amount of ounces that I'm giving out for this recipe. If I'm going to be competitive, then something's got to give. And in this case, it's the serving of beef that I'm giving out, right? This is that level of understanding of your business. And this doesn't even scratch the surface, because if this were a real customer, we would have way more data than just the demo data that I threw together this morning for this presentation. But all in all, this is what it looks like to talk to Patty. Now, it's not just a chatbot. It's not just something that you're talking to back and forth. Patty can actually give you much more robust recommendations and actually have an impact on your business. One example of that is Patty knows how much you should expect to sell out of any given dish out of any location. So in this case, we're also looking at carne asada. It's looking at a machine learning forecast that it's built based off of my historical sales, events, weather, all these different things that influence how much I should expect to sell, and tells me like, hey, tomorrow, November 1st, you should expect to sell 7 of this dish. Same with Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, but then you should actually see an increase on Tuesday and Wednesday up to 10 units, right? Now, that's great to know, but what, right? Because Patty also knows my recipes, and it knows, what goes into each of these, what goes into each of the sub recipes within each recipe, right? And knows the costs associated with everything, as well as what are the purchasing amounts that we are using with our suppliers. It can actually tell me, hey, let's pretend that I'm using US Foods in the LA area. This is exactly how much you're going to need to order based off of how much you have on hand to satisfy that demand, right? So this goes beyond just, hey, here's a chatbot that you can talk to and knows a lot about your business, which in and of itself is very exciting. But it actually gets into the nitty gritty of your business and makes sure that you are stripping out any level of inefficiency. And in particular, what it does is it makes sure that it takes any guesswork out of running your business. All in all, we're super excited to be putting this out into the market. What we're doing is working with early partners now, because we believe in going very deep into our partners' operations, helping them identify the biggest sources of leverage in their business, and then going and attacking them with things like this. The reason we built this is because some of our early customers were having a really tough time with waste, a really tough time with 86ing. Those were the big areas that Patty identified. So we went and built this. That's how we see the future of Pathway and how Patty's going to get us there. I'll stop there. I don't think I did the full 10 minutes, but I don't think I need it. I'd love to open it up to the crew for any questions.
Awesome job, Luis. I know you were under a time crunch. I know the work that you guys have been doing at a unbelievable scale. From the time that I met you to what you just presented now, it's super exciting just because you're not just talking about it, you're actually doing it and building it. And I think that's what's really exciting for me. Let's go ahead and welcome Joe Fontana, Fry the Coop, my man in Chicago. Joe, first, who are you? What do you believe in? Give us your elevator pitch, 60 seconds, and then what's your questions or feedback? Let's see if you're going to be a tough shark on Luis. Give him. You've been pitched plenty of times by restaurant tech companies, so let's give him the open, honest feedback to help them build.
All right. Hey, God bless. My name is Joe Fontana. I'm in Chicago. I'm the founder, owner of Fry the Coop. We got 10 locations around the Chicagoland area, working on building number 11 soon, and a full-out commissary that's going to support our growth. And I believe in delivering hospitality and happiness to everyone that walks in our door, and even our whole Chicagoland area. We have delivering happiness on all of our shirts. Give hugs. Oh, this is not my hug shirt, but it says give someone a hug usually. One of my big questions around, what you were just saying is like, how do we there's so much data, and I feel like we have so much technology and there's so much information, like how does it all feed in to what you're talking about so it can actually like use the data to help us like in operations?
Yeah, and folks, just to be clear, should I wait until the end to answer questions, or am I taking
individual? Yeah, each person will. Yeah,
got it. Joe, great to meet you. I love the Chicago flag on the T-shirt. I also love your background. Clearly, you're getting stuff done.
My messy office here.
Hey, that's where real work gets done, man. As you can imagine, I was like frantically moving stuff around, like erasing stuff from the whiteboard before this. So I love to see it.
I saw Jeff Bezos had a picture of his office, like Amazon's original office, and it had crap everywhere. And I was like, oh, it looks exactly like our office. I was like, perfect.
Perfect. Inspirational.
Yeah, literally.
But Joe, I love the question. And this is something, that we've had to contend with quite a bit. Mike, I don't know if you're able to, but I just started sharing again. Is there a way to bring that back up? Yeah. So this is something that, this sentence, I'm sure you've all heard and said yourselves, right? My systems don't talk to each other. The reason that Patty can address this and go find all the stuff out there, Joe, is because Patty has all the tools that a human does. So we've actually given her the ability to log into any of your systems and go find whatever it needs to find. So let's say you use Restaurant 365. Can actually go find any information that's in there that you need, whether or not it talks to our system or not. But to get it into technical terms, whether there's an API, whether there's an integration. If what you're trying to understand is, how, let's say, your breakfast shift is doing, then it can go spearfish and find all that information across all your systems to put together a full view of it. Another thing I will say is it also is able to remember these things over time. And so at first it might be like, hey, during onboarding, we need to go find all this information across different systems. But over time, it can get that way faster. And importantly, and this is key, not only can it go get data, it can also clean it. And what that means is, let's say that you've got a recipe manager. Let's say you're using Mies or whoever, right? At the end of the day, these tools are very powerful, but it's, garbage in, garbage out. If you haven't been taking care of your recipes and something says, hey, 100 ounces of beef as opposed to 10 ounces of beef, that can throw everything off. Patty is smart enough to spot that and be like, this is probably not 100 ounces of beef, right? I'm going to make an assumption here as to how much it is and flag it to the team being like, hey guys, is this correct? Here's the assumption that I made. Let me know and I'll go fix it for you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that does. So you can literally be like, hey, here's our login for Toast. I created a user for Patty, and Patty goes in and then just can kind of run around and pick data. Is that kind of what I was picking up on?
That's exactly right. And the key thing here is we will have access to your data the same way that a great GM would, right? A great GM, if they're trying to answer a question, they go get what they need. That's how Patty operates. And that's the difference between traditional software and AI agents in particular, where they operate much closer to the way a human does without, the need for very well scoped tasks, as opposed to like, oh, I just don't have the data in that format, so I can't answer that question, which is how traditional software operates.
Love that. That's cool. Very cool.
Any feedback, Joe, on what he can do better as they build out the sales process and the decks and the demos?
Yeah, like I guess say I give Patty access to like our NetSuite, our payroll, our POS company, our Google Suites, you know, how do I know Patty's not going in there and like messing up anything or changing anything, that kind of thing? Is there like, hey Patty, like if you go in, you better give me a little history of what you did, that kind of thing?
100%. So one of the things we're building out, and we've already done this for recipes, for example, that's why I was giving that example, is review centers. And, these are standard in the industry, which is like, hey, you got to go. I'm sure you guys, if you use Restaurant 365, it's, hey, you got to go review the invoice, right? The difference is what you just said, Joe, which is we are not waiting to take action. We are showing you what we've done so that you can be an editor as opposed to a doer. So it's not like, hey, we can't give you the answer because you need to approve X, Y, Z. It's rather like, hey, I've made these changes. They can be undone at the click of a button if you disagree with what I've done. And here's a very easy layout to explain to you what was before and what is now, and what's the difference that Patty created. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Is there
Go
like
ahead.
a limit to what Patty can do? Like as far as like, hey, go through all of our systems and see where we can save money, or where we're spending too much, or
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
the answer is no, but depending on the amount of time, right? And so, for example, something that Patty can tell you within a day or two of you joining Pathway is stuff that is readily available from your existing systems. However, it really gets smart over time by bringing in information from each of these systems and putting it into math that it itself can do and compare. So for example, right now you may or may not have dish level, hour level, shift level, ticket level profitability, right? It can go, for example, right now tell you, hey, what is your dish level profitability over the past week for this dish? But over time, it'll start to identify changes in it and start to be like, hey, Joe, before this was a star on your menu. Now it's becoming more of a puzzle, right? And the reason underlying that is this. The reason I know that is I've been seeing these trends happen over time. Your distributor pricing has shifted, or willingness to spend from the customer has moved away from this product to something else. And therefore, Patty has the context to be able to tell you this is the likely culprit and what we can do about it. That's the difference between, for example, let's say a ChatGPT. If you gave ChatGPT, like, you went and grabbed all the information from your different systems and told it, hey, do a calculation on profitability, it could give you a pretty good approximation of a given dish, but it can't tell you why that is or what to do about it and go execute on it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome.
What feedback what do restaurant technologies do from a sales go-to-market function that you hate as a restaurant owner? What not to do?
Like,
this goes for anybody that listens to this podcast afterwards or watches the live stream. Like, what should people not be doing?
Send me hate mail, guys, please.
Not that Luis did it, but this is just a tip from all the times that you've been pitched, Joe.
Wait, like, so I guess I don't understand the question.
There's things that salespeople do, restaurant technology salespeople have do to restaurant owners. What do you not like? What do you wish they did less of?
Just send me a million emails and bug me every 20 minutes. Yeah. Is this a good time? No, it's not a good time.
It's not a good. When is a good time? There's never
a good time. Yeah.
Awesome.
I think the hardest thing about navigating, and I used to be in sales, like from the restaurant standpoint, is like you get hit by so many.
All day.
Like, yeah, everything sounds great. Like, oh yeah, that sounds great. But I feel like if I added every software that sounds great, I'd be out of business because we couldn't afford all the softwares. We'd be spending $100,000 a month at every location. It's like, I don't know how to, navigate, like how to, like with the limited budget restaurants have, like, what do we, say yes to and what do we say no to? I started saying yes to everything for a while. And I'm like, this is too much. Now we have to like backtrack.
Yeah.
Did you find yourself saying yes to stuff and then it just sits there and you never use it?
That's part of it too. Yeah, 100%. And finding adoption from the team, when you think something's going to be great, and then you ask them to do it and they do it somewhat of the time or never.
So it's a big reason why how we think about Pathway. The reason we started this business is, I won't go into specifics, but at one point I was trying to give away free money when I was at DoorDash. Straight up, like, hey, spend 30 minutes on this thing, you get free money. Here's the calculation. Like, no matter what you were to do for 30 minutes on your business, this is 10 times more valuable than that. And people would be like, Luis, that's great. F off. I don't have time. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just don't have time to do this. And that's when it just clicked. Like, hey, you need to actually take action for the restaurant owner, and you need to build software that uses itself so that it isn't a question of like, oh, am I going to get it and then it's not going to give me any benefit? It's, I'm going to get it. It's going to run itself. It's going to go identify the biggest points of leverage in my business, which is what something like Patty can do, and take action on it automatically. Right now, I don't know that I can solve the fact that you're getting a million emails from a million different people, but at least I can make it so that my product is a slam dunk when you do decide to use it.
Can Patty log into my Gmail and just tell everyone no?
There you go. Now we're talking.
You know what's funny? We are building the ability for it to correspond, especially with vendors and stuff like that. We'll take a look at it.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate it. Elizabeth Doss, you're up. Thanks for being here. Who are you? What are you working on? And what's your feedback for Luis or questions for Luis? And this is an open discussion. So, Jason, you don't need to wait for me to call on you. Spencer, Dean, Joe, anyone can contribute at any time. And we have space on stage if you guys are watching to join us and join the conversation. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
I saw Jason unmute. Wow, that's really loud in my own ears. I'm gonna have to fix some settings. Hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. Awesome. I saw Jason unmute and I was waiting to hear whatever the snark or the comment was. And I was ready for it. And then he muted again.
Snark.
I was like,
Jason's not, there's no snark in Jason. Come on.
No, that's true.
He's not, right. Troy hasn't been around for Jason to bully anymore.
There you go. That's so true.
A moment where Jason Berkowitz self-censors, and this is
we have it on camera.
Mark the time.
That's hilarious. No, my name is Elizabeth Doss, and I'm a social media content creator and a motion graphic designer, but I operate in the realm of animated GIFs. Giphy is serving up 10+ billion GIFs daily to 4 billion users daily. And so I help brands and businesses like restaurants to show up in that place where people are typing in GIF search. Your restaurant might be showing up for barbecue, right? Anyway, so I help on that side of things. Today we're working on some illustrations. I'm super excited that I'm helping with a training program, Jason, for a luxury jewelry company that's all over the country. And my illustrations will be in their back room as a part of their training stuff, and in the animations will be in the training stuff. So it's super cool. It's a super fun project. And I have
a question for you, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Would Elizabeth Doss be able to make a Patty GIF?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Of like actually animating what does Patty look like?
Yeah, that's definitely, there could be a real Patty out in the world. I love that her name's Patty too. It makes me think of like those, like the Hamburglar, but like a female version. Miss Patty.
A very
Patty
smart
burger.
one. Yes.
Right. But that's just what came to my mind immediately. But it would be really funny, honestly, Luis, to harness that idea of the pain points of what restaurateurs are going through, of like, where's that invoice, or, like have those relatable gifts that all restaurant people go through, like where I don't know what I need to order this month, or like we're 86ing it again, like, but then have like Patty to the rescue or something like
Where
that.
did my profits go? Where is the whole?
Yes. Yes.
Like,
what was the one question? My systems don't talk to each other, like, and have like some sort of like thing there. But anyway, I thought I came in late again. I was having some technical difficulties technically. But I think it's a great idea. I guess one of my questions is, even though I don't operate in this realm a whole lot, well, I have a question but I also have a comment. So I'll start with the comment and then the question. I love when they're like, this is a Shawn thing that he's really gotten me like sucked into, is the storytelling aspect of it. And I know that you may not have case studies or you may not be able to talk about client work yet, but even doing them from a surface level where you can remove certain parts of it, but turning it, because you've personified Patty as a person, but now including her in part of the stories that you're telling about how Patty saved the day in these certain realms. And so anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. But my question for you is as far as how many users have access to Patty, because there might be people that could turn Patty's information against you if everybody had access. So I just didn't know what the process is for who actually has access to Patty, and are there different levels of how much information she'll actually share with an assistant manager versus the CEO?
So there's different ways of interacting with Patty, right? So one of them is through the chat. That is mostly reserved for leadership. The main user is the restaurant owner. Maybe, if your group has, a head of finance or CFO or something like that. There are other ways of interacting with Patty, which are, more like traditional software, like that forecast that I showed you, or the order guide where it tells you how much to order, right? There's no ability for someone who you don't want poking around to poke around. That being said, what we are adding is, to your point, different levels of information that are available to the instance of Patty that someone is talking to. And so kind of like a containment wall behind, you don't want someone who shouldn't have access to how much people are making to be able to ask about that, right? One last thing, now that I've answered that, you said Patty saved the day, right? That's PSTD, not PTSD. So I think we might use that.
There you go. Nice. Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. Jason Berkowitz on his best behavior on Halloween. Just don't catch him in the nighttime. When the Dodgers are fighting Spencer's Jays.
That's right. He's not. Where? Oh, my hat's in the other room. But yeah, I should have brought it. No, Spencer's here. Game on. Although, I don't know, man. Your team's playing great. So okay, we're moving on. Good stuff. Good pitch. Who's kind of your ICP? Like as you're testing, what's the size restaurant group ideally for you that you're going after?
We found like the most narrow, like perfect setup is 3 to 5. The reason is very simple. You have found something that works and you're not focused on firefighting constantly, right? So that means that you have actual time to engage with Patty and figure out like, hey, what you have time to go attack the points of leverage in your business. But then also you still have the flexibility to change your systems, right? You can be nimble. If you're in the 30 location range, then some things have become ossified. And even though Patty can still, go find all your data, give you all this information, the speed at which you can act on it is just a little bit slower. And as you can imagine, what we want is for the first set of customers that we work with to be able to not just get 1 or 2 pieces of leverage from Patty, but several. I'll give you examples. Like 2 of our customers actually have gotten better rates from delivery apps because they've worked with us to identify like, hey, relative to my market position, and how competitive this market is for Uber Eats versus DoorDash, how can I get, those competitive dynamics to result in me having a better deal across the board? So another one of our customers wanted to understand pricing. It's like, hey, costs have gone up. I want to understand how I should do a price increase, right? I know that I need to. How do I think about it, right? How do I think about the fries versus the burger? How do I think?
We're back to dynamic pricing talking.
Exactly.
It's never going away. It'll come into the restaurants at some point.
So to be clear, this wasn't so much about dynamic pricing. This is like, hey, I faced the reality of having to do something uncomfortable, which is raise prices on my customers. what is the best way I can do that without harming the customer experience? And how do we identify what that looks like, right? Hey, I don't want to touch, we don't think we should touch the combo because that's what brings people into the store to begin with, right? But a soft drink is something that if you're getting it on the side, customers are able to very easily decide, hey, is this an indulgence that I want or I don't? So maybe we can add some 15-cent increase there. Do it without going over a dollar threshold. That is a psychologically difficult thing, right? These are things that Patty understands from your business, your product mix, everything like that, and can help you make the right choices. That's a long answer, but basically what we found is that 3 to 5 range is perfect because that's when we say restaurants are graduating from, learning how to run their business to thinking about how to create an empire.
It's right. There's growth jumps. So I'm a longtime restaurant operator. Now sell anti-harassment, safety, and leadership development courses or provide them for restaurants. So you're absolutely right. There's growth spurts, 3 to 5, right? Then you hit the 15 mark, you hit the 24 unit mark. All those points become an inflection pain point. I think in the pitch, probably something to kick off a little bit sooner, or my offer to it is that element of like security, right? Apple's does a really good job of whenever they're talking about anything, they always go back to, and our foundation is security at the gates for security of this, right? So 2 questions everyone's always going to have for you is it an API integration, or as you said, we're signing in. So like, just let you know, we're not worrying about anyone talking to each other. We go in as an agent working for you. Security is our highest thing. Like even just that element of making sure the word security and permissions based, I think is absolutely something I would include in every pitch at some point, because the questions are, so you just you're like, we know what you're worried about. We are so far ahead of that because it's the medicine and the vitamin, that whole thing of like, is this going to hurt me, help me, all these different things. So I would absolutely include that a little bit sooner.
Question for you, Jason, to double click there. Is there a specific aspect of security that came to mind for you? Is it what Elizabeth was talking about with like who can access what? Or is it just like, hey, don't mess up, don't give anyone my data, be careful with it, etc.?
I think it's 2 things, and it depends on, anyone's history per se. First is absolutely permissions, payrolls, things like that. Employee files, sensitive things. Just there's liabilities that certain people don't need to know, plausible deniability. There's just that stuff. Owners don't want to show where they're tucking their car. If a P&L is showing discretionary income into something, management fees, they don't want people knowing who don't need to know where that money's going, especially at that level where it's still messy. So that's first thing. And I was a very successful general manager because I don't know nothing about nothing. Whatever I don't need to know, I don't need to know. And so
you would have done well in the mob.
Yeah, no, don't tell me anything, because when I do know, I say it. So that's why I'm always like, they're like, I'm going to tell you a secret. I'm like, don't fucking tell me.
Snitches get stitches.
Yeah, no, it's not snitch. I just would have slept with the fishes because I'm just too honest. So just don't tell me. So the second thing is in the permission base. The other part of the permission base is it's don't screw it up, right? Yeah. Like and I think that maybe Joe, you're kind of leaning to that, is like, I'm reaching into something, I'm adjusting something, I'm changing numbers, and look, we know the agentic. It's going to be this tightrope where I can't expect you to be better than ChatGPT in the ability to go and grab an airline, book a ticket, and come back. Maybe you are. What I think it's saying is like, we're going to stay focused and specialized. We're going to do these things better, right? It's less about, because there's going to be a learning curve, right? It's happening. It's just the tech is coming. You're ahead of it in a particular way, but I think it's saying, as you said, we're going to get the information and then give you the action. So that's on the security permission space. The only other couple things to think about is, I remember Vero years ago was kind of pre-Restaurant 365 or Fourth or all this stuff. And I was a VP of operations at Umami Burger. And they were like, we're giving your GMs 30 points of information. I'm like, I want 3.
Yep.
Like 30, like stop. They need 3. And so really being able to not sort of problem solve everything, but just being like, we are coming in and we are targeting these things. And we're gonna minimize the noise so that it's just signal for them is a really good push, I would say, to not worry about being everything to everyone. Like, we are coming in to solve this. And even so, because adoption is going to be the biggest problem of like, we just don't have time. We don't have time.
Yep.
Like you said, it's free money with DoorDash. I don't have time. Really think about almost like, could be a fun program where you get somebody at one company or something that kind of starts to drive it for the company, and they're showing it and they're giving them the details, and then they just hand it off. They're like, I've been monitoring and running this for you for 4 weeks. Now you just do it. And it's, 10 minutes a day, something to really keep it somewhat focused for them to onboard is how those are my offers, 100%. Suggestions.
So Jason, we talk about this a lot internally. My co-founder Adarsh is an absolute killer on the product and engineering side. And something we think a lot about is, I don't want to name names a lot. Like, I did this when I was at DoorDash, right? Like, we were just giving too much information out there, and that overwhelms. The beauty of something like Patty is the conversation form factor just requires you to be focused, right? And what we're actually building is the ability for Patty to not just give you text and like, hey, out of all the things that I've identified in your business, this is the one that needs your attention right now. Yeah. Here's actually a custom built chart, a simple chart that just explains it visually so that you don't have to read 20 lines of bullet points, but you just can explain it right there. That's what we're going to talk about. That's what this is scoped to. Next time we talk, I'll bring you the second most important thing. But right now, all I care about is making sure that we're taking action on this one thing, because it's going to increase your margin by 1% global over the next week if we simply do this,
Yeah. Keep it simple. Keep the signal focused. Cool. Yep.
Jason, one thing that you hate that restaurant technology salespeople do.
So here's my question, Joe. What's the cap of how many emails I'm allowed to receive, or we're allowed to receive? Because I think I get a second, right? And Shawn and I both hate circling back.
That was going to be my Halloween costume. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
The circle back costume. And
so 2, 3 tops, they've hit 5. I'm like, this is abuse. This is absolute abuse. And look, my problem is I'm probably too soft on pushing. So what Joe, what's the limit? 3, 2?
I mean, maybe 1, or maybe per week, 1 a week.
Yeah. I'm just saying I get 5, and still, because I'm partnered with multiple different restaurant groups, I'm like, hey, what's going on with that?
I mean, to answer that question, we know when AI is emailing us, it's so obvious how,
hey, I love the way that you are.
Instead of using the AI to do the outbound sales motion, use the AI to do research on Joe and on Fry the Coop, and then use AI to craft the email, but make it personal. So it's not like, hey, I sent this out to 200 restaurants in Chicago. It's like, no, I actually sent this to Joe.
I love the way that you're helping restaurants on the training. I'm like, you just pulled one thing off LinkedIn and dropped it in. It absolutely kills me. So there's one.
It's funny. It makes me appreciate poorly written emails more.
Yes.
In a funny way. It's like, oh yeah, you didn't use AI because this is a piece of trash email.
That's really, it's kind of, well, you missed, this is going back 2-3 years ago, where we used to talk about the posts that performed had spelling errors, right, Shawn?
Yes.
Because it was like something.
Always.
Yeah. And by the way, Elizabeth, the M dashes, good call on that one.
Good stuff. Dean LeBay, you're up.
Hey, this is Dean LeBay, LA_BAY, down in New Orleans. Work for Cali BBQ as a marketing, quote unquote, specialist. Nice presentation, Lewis, and congratulations, Mr. Fontana, for being here today. Listening to your presentation, I got to thinking about something from another side. I think it's a useful tool, but the 3 to 5 range, and then Mr. Fontana's got 10. Just to give you an example, like a Pitco fryer. Now, Mr. Fontana is going to get a good price on Pitco fryers because he buys a bunch of them. So when you can take that data that you're talking about, now a lot of the small to medium, small business restaurant groups here in New Orleans, they have a concept, but it's not singular. They have multiple concepts. So if you've got multiple concepts buying from U.S. Foods, being able to take that information and digest it to say, hey, bargain or negotiate for a better price. I think it's great. I mean, that's what we want. You can either make more money by raising the prices, or you can make more money by saving the cost. And my daddy, he always said, it ain't how much money you make, it's how much you save. And I also wanted to go back to the waste. A problem I see in restaurants, and maybe Mr. Fontana can tell us about this, but it's how much does the dishwasher guy see? How much is going through the dish pit? What's being sold? Why is it not being eaten? What's the waste? That kind of criteria. Now, I don't think AI can do that yet, but I think it's important because if you're throwing out sandwiches, half-eaten sandwiches on every shift, there's something wrong. Something's off. So anyway, I think it's a good presentation. I don't have any medical responses. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to see Ash again. Hadn't seen him in a while. Last time I saw him, my dog was just a puppy. That was back in 2002 when Moby Dick was a minnow. But anyway, glad to be here. I'm glad you're here. Please come back and join us another day.
Awesome,
Thank
Dean. Ash, why don't we go to you, Ash? It's been a
Do you
while.
mind if I just respond?
Please. Yeah, go ahead, Luis. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Dean. It's funny. Well, first off, by the way, I saw Matty Smokes show up there on the marquee. Good to see Matty's around. But there he is. Dean, it's really interesting that you mentioned that. The waste is one of those questions we get a lot, which is, hey, I don't know my theoreticals, how much I should be using of everything. And then, I have an understanding of how much is actually getting used because I know what my bills are, right? But what's the delta, right? And that's where AI can actually really help is identify like, hey, are you seeing consistent waste? Is it due to, it's happening in a certain shift, right? Okay, well, what's the next question? Is that theft? Is that, someone, is not doing a great job with prep, etc. Can help you identify these things and get it to that like 1 yard line where you can go and poke a little bit deeper. And the other thing I was going to mention is I love your example of, getting better pricing. Joe has 10 locations. Each restaurant size has a different type of advantage, right? Something that we've actually seen a lot of our customers do is when you bring all your data together, you can start to do things that maybe it's hard to do if you just have a lot of information on sales or your recipes or inventory or anything else. Like, for example, you said there's 2 ways to make money. One is to raise prices and the other is to reduce costs. We think about a third one, which is increase the willingness to pay of the customer, right? What is hey, high protein is really trending in your area. How do we actually take one of your recipes, tweak it slightly so that your food costs and labor costs stay mostly unchanged, but market it in a way that's exciting to a customer where they're willing to pay more for it, and also bring in new traffic of people who weren't thinking about your concept before then. And so that's a way in which you've taken all these data, coalesced it down to an opportunity, and you're driving top line, bottom line, and new customers all together.
That's awesome. Great point, Elizabeth. A database for different back of house equipment that Patty could send a reminder for maintenance. Clean the ice machine. Yes.
Hey, Joe.
Go ahead, Dean.
Real quick. Luis, is it Patty with an I or Patty with a Y?
With a Y.
Okay.
Patty's a shortened version of Pathway, which is the name of the company. Yeah, Pathway Patty, how we refer to her.
Well, the reason I said that is I used to know a girl named Cindy. She said, yeah, Cindy with an I and Cindy not with a Y because she was missing an eyeball. Cindy with an I. Anyway, another story for another day.
It's fantastic, Dean. We'll have you lead with that story next time. Ash, welcome back, my friend. It's been too long. Can you share who are you and what are you working on a Friday? And then any questions you have for Luis and Patty from Pathway.
Hello, everybody. Thanks, Dean, for that. And Shawn. Yes, I've been immersing in my restaurant day and night. I'm Ash, owner of Muya Carlsbad Burger, Fries, and Shakes, the first one in San Diego. Been in business almost 3 years now, and been doing restaurant for over 20 years. Unfortunately, I joined you guys late. I'm really sorry that I don't really join you often. Like Dean said.
You're never late. You're never late, Ash. Whenever you join, you're always welcome.
Thank you. So I missed the introduction of Patty, but it sounds like it's about restaurant saving money somewhere or studying restaurant. Is that what it is? Is that
Give
correct?
us you have 30-second pitch, Luis. Explain what you did at the top of the hour in 30 seconds. This is what we do as a community. We all learn how to tell, because if you can't tell someone else what Jason Berkowitz does for a living, then we're not doing a good job as storytellers. So 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Just making sure Ash is still around.
He's there.
Okay.
He's there.
Perfect. So Patty is the right-hand woman for every restaurant owner, and it allows you to talk to your restaurant. It knows everything about your business across every aspect of it, your sales, your costs, your inventories, your operation. It helps you identify things that, maybe you didn't know to look for, and helps you actually go and execute on them. One great example is what we were talking about earlier. High protein burger, right? You're already selling a burger. You can bring in a few different ingredients to make it high protein. That's something that you can only identify would make sense because you understand the concept, you understand your recipes, labor, food costs, how much you're getting charged by suppliers for new ingredients that you would need, what your customer base looks like, etc. So that's Patty in a nutshell. She can talk to you and you can talk to her.
Okay, so it's like a chat GPT kind of.
It's restaurant GPT is a way to think about it, but it actually goes and takes action on your behalf. So it's not just a chatbot.
So where does it get the information from? From our internal system?
That's exactly right.
Okay. And it can identify point of improvement in your system on your sales, basically. So would it say, for example, would it identify and say you're selling so much MDC or Muya cheeseburger on a certain time of the day? Would it do that?
Yes. And the beauty of Patty, and I think this is something I could have done a better job of explaining, is Patty identifies the sources of leverage in your business specifically. So she's not honing in just on hey, what's your supplier pricing, for example, even though that might be a huge source of leverage for a lot of restaurants. Maybe the opportunity for you is actually in cleaning up staffing during, the last hour on a Thursday, right? That's something that Patty can identify by looking at your system as a whole. So does that answer the question, Ash?
Yes. So it can also say you have so basically it can identify SPH is high or low on a certain day, a certain time of the day. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. The way we like to think about it is, imagine if you hired the world's greatest restaurant GM. They came into your business. They identified what was going on. What they would do is say, this area needs work, right? And for each restaurant, that might be different. And so going back to Jason's point about, we don't need 30 things. We need 3 things that we can act on. That's what Patty helps you with.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay.
I got a question for you real quickly. I noticed you didn't use the word agent or AI at all in sort of the pitch, right? And to me, it's an AI agent that sources, aggregates the most crucial pain points and turn them into single base hits for your team to hit every day, right? To me, it's something, none of those were, and you are far more experienced in selling restaurant tech than I am.
Yeah.
Why are you avoiding those?
It's not an avoidance. We have AI on the website. It's more so talking about outcomes. I think something that we keep
what it does for you.
Go ahead.
What it does for you.
Exactly. Because, I think there's a lot of hype around AI, and everyone's trying to sell AI for the sake of AI. At the end of the day, the reason we've built Patty the way that we've built her is because each restaurant is different, and what each person needs to do looks different. And so the beauty of AI is that it can identify opportunities in your business. And so that's what we talk about. Now, to be honest with you, people get excited about AI. So that's probably an opportunity for me to hammer that home a little bit more and just kind of use the buzzwords. But from a personal perspective, that's how I feel about it.
Awesome. Spencer, you're up. Jays, Dodgers, game 6. Hopefully for you, not a game 7. Hopefully for Jason, a game 7. Go ahead. Who are you? What are you working on? And what's your feedback for Luis or question?
Spencer from backofhouse.io. We are helping independent restaurants find the right technology for their restaurant. We are consultants working closely with GFS. Luis, good to see you again. This is 2 in a row now of Pitch the Tide that is from somebody I have already been pitched, although it was a different solution at the time, I believe. We have not been pitched Pathway, but I think that is a conversation we should have offline, because I think this is exactly up the alley of something we would want on back of house to promote to our customers. And unfortunately, I flew in late. I tried to get here on time because I saw your name on there, Luis. So like, well, I think it's a different company at the back of Luis's name, so I want to see what's new. But the back part, I saw a great job, and I knew you do a phenomenal job. I guess questions that I have are really just things that spurred on curiosity. Is there anybody that still has something like a legacy POS system? Is there a way to manually enter data into Patty, or is it all API connection reliant?
No, I'm going to reject the premise. No need to do it manually, because Patty can do it manually for you. So, For example, we have some POS systems that are just a pain. And what we've done is we have built the ability for Patty to, we were talking about it earlier, log in, go into the analytics section, download the itemized data, and then feed it into the system itself. No need for an API. An API is better, faster, across the board, obviously, but that should never be something that prevents you from identifying the points of leverage. Right. See you, Jason. Thank you.
Yeah, go Blue Jays, Jason. I see why you're leaving. Yeah.
And Spencer, no, it's what you said earlier. It's a great call out. I think we hit what I had. For context, folks, I came on, I think it was 1 or 2 weeks ago, did not know the structure of this thing, and just launched into a pitch when it was not my turn or at all to do so. So Spencer's being nice for framing it the way that he did. But basically the back half of what I was talking about is one of the things where Patty has gone deep, which is hey, I understand what you're going to sell and how much you need to be buying. And what we've realized is actually there's a ton of value in all the data that we've fed to Patty. And Patty is actually starting to identify points of leverage that are not just specific to procurement and how much you need to be buying, but actually across your business. Like I was talking about earlier with, vendor contracts, delivery apps, specials, all these different things. So it's the same underlying system. It's just oh, wow, we actually have this gold mine on our hands that we need to start pushing.
That's cool. That's great. Because I often speak to many customers of mine that if you're not using a cloud-based POS system, please, that's number one, because all of this super cool, fun tech that's coming out like Patty just makes your life so much easier that you're not doing manual uploads and downloads. So something like Toast or Square or something along those lines that is a cloud-based system that's with an open API that's RESTful. I can, if you want to know more about that, I can explain all that to you, but please just it has to be something along those lines. The other question I have, or the one thing that I always find curious in, if there was a way for a system to be able to unlock this, is the ripple effect of selling an item. When I sell this item, what happens? What type of customer is buying this item? And is it a high value customer that's buying this item versus this item? And when I sell it, it leads to other sales of other items that may actually make this more profitable, and maybe I can move this as a loss leader or tweak the pricing on it because I know the value of it across the entire organization. And I think a lot of restaurateurs have an idea about what that is, but to have raw data around this is, you're selling this for, $26, but really the value of that is up to about $40 because of what happens when you do sell it. That's how so is that something that Patty is able to do? I put you on the spot, no, I can't do that. Sorry. Thanks, Spence. But
no. I mean, here's the thing. The way that we call those network effects, right, internally. Yeah. And the way to get there is getting data over a period of time. Because what you need to be able to do is come up with a model. Basically, this is math, where you go and basically test it against what actually happened. And so it's like, hey, in cases where it's basically a natural experiment is a way to think about it. Like, hey, 3 Saturdays ago versus 7 Saturdays ago, you had different product mix, but the rest of the, factors that usually affect these things were pretty much the same. That allows you to start pinpointing some of these network effects, right? In ways that are super exciting. This is where the value of working with Patty over time really starts to kick in, right? So the way we think about it is there's a ton of value up front because it helps you identify like the really big gaping holes that you maybe don't know are there, but if you just can bring everything together, you can notice it once. And then these other more nuanced things over time become available. So the answer is yes, once we have enough data on your business, then we can start to pinpoint those network effects. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's with the rise of AI and being able to connect all of these different, usually siloed pieces of data in a restaurant if you're not latching onto this as a restaurant owner, at least to give you some good insights, it's an absolute gold mine is what you're able to accomplish and what you're able to really understand about what happens on a daily basis with your sales data and your product mix and your sales mix and your costing. So it's a great time for restaurants for us to gather data and then turn around and provide phenomenal hospitality by using that data information. So I think Patty's it's a cool spot. It's a cool product. I think
let's get to tip, takeaway, homework assignment. Joe, kick us off. Get everyone out of here at the top of the hour.
Thanks, Spencer.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Appreciate you, Spencer.
Joe's muted over there.
Can we hear you now, Joe?
Yeah, I think maybe learning a little bit more about how we can help Patty make our lives a lot easier. Because, I mean, honestly, I feel like even our financial team could use Patty. We have a accounting person on our team that's like, he is just underwater with all his spreadsheets and like he is drowning. So as I was listening, I was like, God, Nick could really use Patty now.
Well, Joe, we're looking for early partners, so we'd love to chat. And by the way, that's a call out to everyone listening. Reach out. Shawn knows this. We've talked about it on a different podcast. We have kept our customer base small to begin with on purpose because we go deep with each partner and we use that to our advantage so we can really understand your business and help drive outcomes. So Joe, feel free to shoot me a note or I'll reach out to you.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Joe. Thanks for being here, man, on a Halloween. Dean LeBay, takeaway, homework assignment.
Another good show. Remind all your business partners and your associates to join the Tide every Wednesday and every Friday, 12 o'clock Texas time or 12 o'clock Chicagoland time, Joe Fontana. Take care.
There we go. Appreciate you, Dean. Elizabeth, go for it.
Yeah, sure. My homework assignment's a little off topic, but Instagram Edits, the new app that it's like CapCut, but it's done by Instagram, has a new feature in their analytics section where you can generate a report, which is something as a social media manager, having to pull numbers and screenshots from different things. It's just been crazy. So if you have a business account on Instagram, make sure you sign up for Edits, link your accounts, and in that analytics thing, you'll be able to generate a report for your month-to-month analytics. Anyway, back to you, Shawn.
Awesome. Always appreciate that, Elizabeth. Spencer, go for it.
Hey, salespeople out there, craft a better cold call than, hey, is it a good time? That is not a way to enter a conversation. It's not a good time. Think about a better way. And then marketing people, do not set up your salespeople by putting all the leads into like a 25 email drip that they're going to get every single day. Then the salesperson calls like, oh my God, yeah, I can't stand you already because you left me alone. So marketing, your set and forget mode of doing everything is not how setting up your salespeople. They're making them look bad.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Luis, hey, is your fridge running?
Yeah. Luis, go ahead and close this out. We appreciate you, man. Great job today. Thank you for being here, being a part of the community. Any parting words?
This is an incredible community. Thank you all for being, the fantastic partners that you are, coming on and giving us honest feedback, especially on a Friday, on a Halloween Friday. All in all, folks, we get better when we work with good partners, and that can be us helping you bring Patty into your business, or it can also just be us bouncing ideas off of each other. Shawn, I'm sure we'll put my contact information out there, but please reach out. We are here to help. We are here to make your business better, and couldn't be more excited to do so.
Awesome. If you guys want to pitch the Tide, email us podcast@calibbq.media. If you want to host a podcast, we have Wednesday time slots open. If you have a topic you want this community to discuss, let us know. Have a safe and happy Halloween. And if you're a baseball fan, enjoy the baseball, no matter who you're cheering for. Appreciate you all. Thank you, Mike, for producing in the background. Louis, Joe, Dean, Elizabeth, Ash, Spencer, thank you so much. Have a great day.